Oh man, there's not going to be any intro at all. You're the first guest, by the way, that I have had no intro at all. I come on, I start talking, I start saying, like announcements, like stuff that's happened over the course of the last like week or two or something like that. But nope. Thaddeus Tondu comes right on from the gate, because it's that kind of show. And also, so
I was just laughing at loving the split screen view. I was like, oh, what's going to happen here? Did he mess up?
Yeah, I messed up. I meant to put both up there, and I got a little rambunctious with the view. But actually, I was a little upset because I had planned a really big episode last week, and I had it all mapped out and everything, and the last minute, Ish couldn't do it. So I was supposed to be Ismael Valdez, obviously for those that are listening that don't know who it is. I mean, he's a massive home services kind of guru guy. He sold his business in California, and he was the owner of Next Gen, and you can Google him. He's got a new company called it's Nuve thermostats or whatever it is. And that was supposed to be last week, and I felt really bad. I'm like, he was my go-to guest for last week. And then he had something come up. It was totally incidental. And he was like, look, my assistant made a mistake with my schedule, and it was completely innocuous, but it was what it was. And so it's been a couple of weeks here, but I'm excited to have you on. And you've not been on for a really long time. You've not done this. And this
I have
was
not
you.
done a live. I have done one other podcast that launched, I think, like 2 weeks ago, but not a live. But I will say I'm bringing back old times, and that's a full whiskey glass. So cheers, my friend.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it
I
is
may or may not have a beverage in this cup here. But
I think I asked you before. I'm like, should I bring back, should I go OG and Service Nation?
Yeah, it's my Service Nation cup that I got at AHR actually, and it's no, it's a steel. It's actually a steel cup it's like insulated, so it keeps everything nice and cold in there.
I love the steel ones. I put them in my camper.
You can't see the type of beverage I have in here, or the flavor or the color, so you have no idea what I'm drinking.
Even better.
What do you can? You have a camper
What's
in
up,
Canada?
Canada.
You have a camper?
Trailer, bumper pull. And by the way, it is
Oh.
not Canada, it is Canada. But
Mm.
so I went down recently, Searcy, Arkansas. I have a client in Searcy, I have a client in Little Rock, and I have a client in Heber Springs. I finally pronounced that right. So, but I sit down there and his daughter's like, "Oh, you're the Canadian or Canadian is what it was." I'm like, "Oh boy." She's like, "No, that was the wrong word. Canada, Canada. I know that." But yes, Canadian.
Good. So yes, you've been down, you're all over the place, right? Like you've been traveling, you've been in Arizona, you spent your birthday in Arizona, right?
I did, yes. Had my 40th birthday with my buddies down in Phoenix. Did some golfing.
That's so funny you say that because I'm actually going on a trip there with a bunch of buds in October. So
well, if you want some golf courses, let me know. I've golfed a lot.
we're going to Scottsdale. There's like that one course there that is like epic scenery. Like I forget which hole it is. It's like literally you're hitting down, I don't know, like let's say 300 yards or whatever it is. You've been there?
There's a lot. Old Canyon Dinosaur is like one of my favorite courses to golf out there.
Old Canyon
Dinosaur. It's expensive as fuck. However, it is probably one of the nicest courses that I've golfed. And if you can get in, look at Wekopaw. Wekopaw is also a really nice course.
That's pretty cool.
But the wider fairway one, not the narrow one. The narrow one will eat your lunch if you're not a good golfer.
Well, not a good golfer. So if there's a lot of fescue, I don't bother. Like if there's fescue, like if you're like, either side of the course is like fescue, I'm like, no, might as well just throw my ball away.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Like walk over to those garbage cans they have like in between each hole.
So you're a drinker in the cart is what you're saying.
No, you know what? I'm actually a pretty good golfer. I'm actually pretty good when I get the chance to get out there. It's just, it's time consuming.
Yep.
And I just don't prioritize it. So then when I go out there, like I'll have like half of my game will be like, dude, amazing shot. And the other half will be like, wah, wah. I'm chunking up some grass, but,
that'll happen.
So you did your live streams actually for HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. You did them during the day. So this is a very big difference for you.
Yeah, I think we did like maybe one later in the afternoon, but usually we were 2 p.m. Mountain, and we drank whiskey on that. Like there was our productivity. I mean, near the end we stopped drinking as much, but there were some runaway afternoons on a Wednesday where productivity would go down, but dreaming and scheming would go up.
Well, and you need a little bit of both, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You need some dreaming and scheming, and you need some productivity, but I think there's a good mix. I'm a big fan of the like the rest and recharge. Like I don't feel like I can go 1,000,000 miles an hour and sprint, but then and even marathon. But after a while, like if I don't take a recharge, I'm done.
Yep.
Like I might as well I pack it in. So I think I actually think I'm a big fan of like the 4-day work week. You ever thought about that?
I actually, in depth, quite honestly, I've thought about putting in a 4-day work week into my business, and I've like literally have talked about doing it, but we moved away from it. I just haven't put it in place yet. Not because of any really good reason, but like we actually have, there's actually 3 things that a person can do with our business. One is they just work their regular time. One is they can have like a half day Friday. And so every Friday they get a half day. And then the other one is every second Friday, they get a full Friday off, and they just adjust their working hours accordingly. But I've also thought like Iceland actually just did that. They did a pilot study, and they've actually had increased productivity with the 4-day work week. There's also people that do like sprints, and so they'll do like a 7 weeks on and then a forced 1 week off, and you kind of work in teams in tandem, so not everybody's off all at once. Like, I don't know, Drew's still kind of out on all of those. I agree.
Gonzalez says Thaddeus is more handsome. What's up, Jen? Yeah, well, you know what? He took a break from his podcasting days, and now here we are, and he's now on a live stream again for the first time in 7 months. So that's good, man. So let's back it up for a second here, because for people that don't know you, that are going to listen to the audio or go back and watch the video, who are you, man? Like, and why are you on this podcast?
Well, because you asked me to come on.
I know, but why?
Okay. So I've been in the I guess marketing sphere for going on 11 years. I was in print before and then into digital marketing for a while. And so I own a company called On Purpose Media, and we do websites for websites, SEO, Google Ads for heating and cooling, plumbing, electrical contractors, other home services as well. But those are the three big ones. But I also had a podcast called HVAC Success Secrets Revealed, and we ran that for 4 years, I want to say. Yeah, about 4 years. I'm trying to think, do the math in my head. It was just over 4 years, 251 episodes that we did on the podcast called HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. Did a lot of live streams with people. We went to events and did podcasting at events. And then due to, business partnership that is no longer a business partnership, now we're here. It took a little bit of a hiatus and a break from content creation and being on video and doing those things. And now re-emerging from that to be able to, do this podcast and start doing other podcasts, but also start to create more content.
4 years,
Yeah.
250 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, that's a long time. I mean, if most of the time you get that far, you just kind of, I mean, maybe we can get into that. I'm just curious, like, how did it all happen? Like, you get you get a good thing going, you get thousands of listeners. So what kind of happened? Like, what events led up to there being no more, Thaddeus and Evan?
Very deep question, very loaded question, and one that I'm sure everybody wants to really know the answers to that specific question. We not only had a podcast together, we also had a marketing company together. And it's Joel McHale. You know what, Dan, you're not the first person who said that. But we had the podcast and we had the marketing company together. And we were 50-50 partners on all of it. And I think it was just a culmination of things. And at the end of the day, when we were trying to run the marketing company and also run the podcast at the same time, and doing the difference between those two is really, I think, what was the challenge. At the end of the day, we had different visions on what we wanted to accomplish for both the marketing company and for the podcast. And that's where it kind of started to go away from each other in terms of the visions of what we had. And Evan will be the first one to say, and he even said it on our last episode, is that when you have a business partnership, and we can get definitely into the weeds of business partnerships, what's effective, what's not effective, how to be able to structure it the right way, things to consider, things that I wouldn't do again, things that I would do again. Yes, I would do it again. I would take on a business partnership again. People are like, well, aren't you jaded? Well, no, I would just do it differently this time. And because you learn these things, you get this experience from it. But at the end of the day, we all have responsibilities. We ask our team members to hit KPIs. Well, when we as owners have KPIs, we need to uphold our end of the bargain too for our team and for each other. And if one business partner misses some of those things or has a different vision beyond where you're growing things together, then it's time to say and have an honest conversation. Be like, hey, you know what? I think maybe it's time to look at parting and going our separate ways. And you have a real tough, honest dialogue about it that lasts for a solid 3 months. And I will say that I still have not as close of a relationship with Evan, no doubt. However, we still talk every now and again, and there's no ill will or bad blood, so to speak. There's still some ability to have a conversation.
And so, but the partnership started before the podcast, right? And you guys
Yes.
came up with yeah.
Yeah. So we started the business November 2019. We bought the domain on purposemedia.ca, built the business plan, did the website, did all those things, built everything. February 2020, I quit my job and I'm like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go all into this business. I might as well. Evan did not come in full time. I think like a year and a half later. And so I went in full time, and then within the first full week, I landed 5 clients. 4 weeks later, COVID hit. We lost 4 of those 5 clients, and it was, man, that was a deep, dark time in my life. Probably one of the deepest that I've been in. Not quite the deepest, but one of the deepest. I quit my job, right? I went into a business. I had literally nothing anymore because COVID shut that down. But we continued to push forward and persevere in the marketing company. We actually stumbled upon the podcast by accident. That's the funny part. People are like, oh, you planned this podcast. No, we literally stumbled upon it by accident. We had a business coach at the time, and we just started creating content about, and there's some content that we created when we first started this thing that's absolutely atrocious. It's locked away in the vault. Like, I mean, it sucks. I was wearing no offense to polo shirts. I was wearing a golf shirt on all the videos because that's what I thought I needed to do. And now I'm like, I actually really like golf shirts. I really like dress clothes that are well fitted. I just don't like wearing them all the time. So we stumbled upon it because we were just talking, drinking whiskey on a Wednesday about what we were learning in our business and being transparent behind it. And then we were like, well, hey, let's bring on a guest. And so we brought on a guest. And then as we brought on a guest, we brought on one from the industry. And then we brought on another from the industry. And we brought on another from the industry. And we're like, shit, dude, I think we're onto something, man. And we were going live with the video live at the time. Like the thing is that like we were ahead of the curve. Like at the time, I think that there was only one other podcast that was going live at the time, and it was HVAC Overtime. And they were doing it on YouTube and they were doing it on Fridays. That was it. Nobody else was going the live route. And we did, mainly because of sheer laziness. We're like, well, fuck, if we don't have to edit after, we can go live and it lives there. Guess what? We've done our job. We're golden. We don't have to do anything after the fact. And then it just continued to grow and spiral and grow and spiral and grow and spiral to the point where it was when we decided to, I guess, shut it down.
Yeah, that's actually why I go live. I go live so that I don't have to, I end up editing the audio, but I don't have to edit the video, which is really cool. Actually, technically that's a lie. Even before I started the podcast, I actually said that this was going to be unedited and uncut. And what I wanted was a sincere and candid look inside the minds of people who work in other people's houses. And then it spread out from there to obviously, people that are on the marketing end of things and home services in general, but the sort of humanized world of what we live in. And this is a very human sort of situation. And so after, so you came up with the idea because you were already kind of like, hey, what did we learn this week? And then, because I had stumbled upon you guys, I guess, early on, really early on.
Yeah.
And I thought I was a guest, but I wasn't a guest until like 2021, 2022. And it was fun. It was cool. I thought you guys had something really, really, really cool going on. And then you guys were everywhere. I mean, you guys, any event, you guys went to events together. You guys were all over the place. I met you guys both in person, actually, at or was it just Evan? It was actually Victor Rancour's event in Las Vegas.
Oh, the very first one. Yeah, that one.
The
one with the hookers.
Were there hookers?
Well, that's the story.
Well, I didn't hear that, but I stay away from all that shit.
Yeah.
But so long story short, though, you guys came up with the idea. You started doing all this stuff, and so you couldn't make the podcast work. Like you couldn't make the podcast work together. Was it a work environment thing, or was it just like you just wanted to part ways and that's it? The only reason why I'm asking this is because I view this as like a cautionary tale. And by the way, whatever, look, I know we're live. I know there's people watching. Like, I know that there's going to be probably, I don't know, let's just say, a few hundred, 500-600 people that are going to, stream it or whatever. But I'm just curious, like, was there any talk of like, okay, we can do the podcast and then we can't do the marketing company, or was it just like, we want a clean break and that's it?
I don't know if there was ever that conversation behind it. Just because the reality behind the situation, it was, at the end of the day, it wasn't necessarily a mutual thing to start.
Okay.
It was initiated by one person, or I'll say it was me, in terms of initiating it from the marketing company perspective, right? Because I wanted to focus on the marketing company and not necessarily the podcast. He wanted to focus on the podcast, not necessarily the marketing company, at least in the greater sense of things. And so when you have this difference of visions and division of where you think you want to go, and part of the problem, I think, with the podcast and the marketing company is that we were too segregated between the two, right? And like you and I have had conversations about this, right? Like how do you bridge a podcast to the marketing company, and the marketing company to the podcast, and make sure there's that cohesion there. Like I had a conversation with Kevin Horton down in AHR. And he, for the first year of knowing us, didn't even know we had a marketing company. He just thought we had a podcast. He's like,
No
what do you guys do?
way.
Right. And so like that, by
Wow.
the way, wasn't exclusive. Like we go to events, like, so what do you guys do outside of the podcast? Like,
Yeah,
we have a
nobody knew you had.
marketing,
Yeah.
right?
Do you think that people know that? Do you think that people know about, like, let's say Relentless with Service Business Mastery podcast? Do you think that people know, like, automatically that, like, Josh Crouch has a marketing company separate from the Service Business Mastery podcast? Or do you think they kind of like find out about it through the kind of like, osmosis?
I think to begin with, I don't think they knew that, but now he's positioned himself in a way that takes advantage of that, right? I mean, you look at the content creation that he's created from, and like just the podcast in and of itself, the Service Business Mastery, one of the top podcasts, I would probably say, of our space in terms of sheer volume of downloads, like one of the tops. But because of that, they've got a bigger audience to be able to pull from. And if you talk a little bit more about it and you show that, plus Josh creates content, he's very active in terms of the marketing side of things.
Right.
And so there's that bridge, right? So he's used the platform, in my opinion, to be able the marketing or the podcast platform to be able to push up his marketing aspect of things, which is nothing wrong with that. I think it's genius and it's super smart to be able to do, but he's done it in a way that people know that, oh, okay, well, Tersh owned a home service company or owns a home service company. Josh owns a marketing company, and now they're doing things together in the space of automations with everything. And so it all kind of assists each other, in my opinion, where I think for us, we were missing that. We started to bridge that near the end. We started to close that gap, but I think the gap was just too far gone at that point for a lot of people.
So, okay. But you don't have any interest in the podcast, even though you started the podcast together. You are operating On Purpose Media, the marketing company.
Yes.
But you had started that before you and Evan even met, right?
No, we started together.
You started together, but he's got the podcast. Correct. And you've got the marketing. That's how the split went.
Correct.
Got it.
It was a negotiation. See, like, here's the thing:
there is no podcast. There is no podcast. I mean, okay. So let me correct that. Is it the same podcast, like the Let's Vent podcast that he has put out, or at least started? Because I've seen some posts and stuff like that. Is that the same? Like, is it the same podcast? Like, does he have all the old content and like have access to all the old content? Was that like the split? If you can't talk about it, that's fine. I'm just curious.
Okay. Yeah, if I don't want to say something, I'm just not going to answer the question. I'll give you my best political answer and skirt around it, and away we go. At the end of the day, when you have a business partnership that is no longer, it's like a divorce, really. There's no other way to be able to put it together. If anybody that is listening has went through a divorce, you know that it can be either amicable or you can be downright shitty and nasty. Ours was amicable. We had conversations, we had negotiations around it. And that's the part that I have the utmost respect still for Evan in terms of the whole process and what he's doing and what happens. Yeah, business divorces, right? Exactly. And so when you think about this business divorce, how do you be able to do it the right way? Well, okay, well, can you have the way I looked at this and saying, okay, well, hey, Evan, I think it might be time, right? Let's have a conversation about it. Like, let's be adults. Don't be trivial, right? If we wanted to be trivial, we had a shareholders agreement done for a reason. By the way, business divorces, the best time to put a shareholders agreement in place is before you even have a problem. The day that you start your business relationship, you put in a business shareholders agreement that deals with these sorts of things, deals with death, it deals with divorce, it deals with disability, it deals with a business divorce, like all these things that are going to come up that just might happen. You want to put it in place when things are good, because it's tough to do it when things are bad.
That's wise,
right?
That's very wise words.
That's probably the lawyer that I use for all of my contracts and all my business stuff. That's what he said when we started looking at this business thing. He's like, "Well, you guys should put in a shareholders agreement." Like, what's that? Those are guys like, "What's that?" He's like, "Well, it's a thing that governs your corporation." He's like, if you ever get a divorce, if you ever go your separate ways, and if it's not amicable, now you have a piece of paper to fall back on. Now you can say, hey, here's what the letter of our shareholders agreement says.
So,
Okay?
so all
That's
that
an
being,
option, right? We
so,
never use that. We negotiated.
so all that being the case, at the end of the day, you putting a lot of heart, sweat, and tears into the podcast. I mean, I hate when people ask this question in an interview, like when they go to a baseball player at the end of, like, hey, I don't know, you hit that home run. Or what does it feel like? Like, I hate that question, but in this, I feel like it's really applicable. Like, what was going through your mind? Like, how did you feel like when you were like, okay, I'm not going to get the podcast. I'm okay with this. I'm not going to do the podcast anymore. I can do another podcast. I'm not going to do the podcast anymore. That's a load off my back. Like, what was it?
I was kind of glad to be out of the podcast, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
For
it makes
where
sense.
it was at. It's a
A
lot
lot
of
of work, man. I know.
It's a ton of work. Like, I'm trying, like, I have 15 employees and team members that work for me, right? Like,
Wow.
that like one of them is on a trip of a lifetime in Iceland right now. Like, dude, that feels so good that she's on a trip of a lifetime as a result of the work that she's done with me over the last 2 years, that she's been able to save up to be able to do that. Like, that's pretty cool. But when it was going through my mind, and if I were to back up, the decision to make the business divorce, in a sense, wasn't made the day that we had the conversation. Like, this was
Sure.
something that was in the works beforehand.
Yeah.
And so the mental side of things and going into it was, I was mentally prepared to be okay with being apart from the podcast. I was fine with that. I didn't think I wanted to start another podcast. In fact, now that I'm out of it, I kind of miss it a little bit, but I kind of don't. If I were to do it again, I probably wouldn't go live at the same day and the same time every single time.
Why?
That's
the hard part. I already know. Yeah,
that is the hard part.
I already know that's the hard part, and I already know that, like, although like some of the live chats, I've had 100 people in a chat at a time.
Yep.
Like, I love it. Like, it's really cool.
Yep.
Like, but I
and
do
that's
know
the nice part. But the part, like what happened to you last week, with
yeah, no. And
Ish
then
feeling last minute. By the way, he did it
recording.
to us, I think, like 2 or 3 times. It's okay. I still like Ish.
Who Ish did it to you guys too?
Yeah, he did it to us like 2 or 3 times, but it's okay. I really like Ish. The thing is that
why do you have to preface it at the end? It's okay. I really like Ish.
I like Ish. I think
I like Ish too. I mean, he bailed on, he
no-showed, right? It happened. Whatever, shit happens. We move on. We've had conversations and whatever, right? I was just like doing that to kind of get a subtle jab at people if I can. But that's the thing. It's like, it's a lot of work that goes into the podcast. And going live at the same time, if you have that happen, now you have to have a Rolodex of people on the back end. But to go back to that question that you asked, the one reality that sunk in is that I was mentally, or at least I thought I was mentally prepared to have a life without a business partner. Like, literally thought I was mentally prepared to have life without a business partner.
Wait, this is after the divorce? This is after
the divorce. So the divorce took 2.5 months. By the time it was initiated to the time it was finalized, we signed the paperwork. Done. Right. I actually went into like a 4 to 6 week, like a tailspin, a spiral, in a sense. But I thought I was mentally ready. You think about this. I built a 5-year relationship with this person. 5 years, talking daily, multiple times a day. To have that slowly wean out, and all of a sudden, sign the paperwork. I'm like, oh fuck it, it's actually real now.
But now it's like, when you live with somebody, and then or you live with people, and then you move, and then you, like, they move out, or you move out on your own, and you get your own apartment, and all of a sudden you're used to coming home and there's somebody there. But then one day what happens is they move out, or you break up, or you live by yourself, and you come home and you start to realize, you're like, man, I really like this. Like, you walk in, you're like good. You go to the fridge, you do your thing, you make your own self dinner with nobody else. Like, you put on whatever the hell you want on the on the TV, or you're sitting around and read, do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Nobody else is there. And you get used to it. And I'm going to guess that you've gotten accustomed to it.
It's like anything, right? Like, and that's the reality, but I don't think most people talk about that messy middle. And that's the part that of the messy middle that people don't talk about. Social media doesn't talk about it. Social media talks about all the good things. It doesn't talk about the
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think there's
90% of social media.
You're right. It's a bunch of bullshit that people put on to show, like, oh, everything's going wonderful. Yeah, because you're not gonna you're not gonna fucking post pictures of your kid like, hey, my kid got an F today on, I'm just being real. My kid got an F today. Like I posted something today. Like my daughter won like 15 awards at school today. Like she accepted an award, and like it was like presidential, blah 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 blah. And, you know, I posted the shit out of that. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. You know, so I totally understand that. We do have a question here.
Yeah.
I know we're spitballing, which is good. This is a great conversation, but there's a lot. So Tim Stanley has a question here. Says I gotta ask, were there ever feelings? Was there ever feelings caught? I gotta ask.
Like, what does he mean?
So I think what he's trying to say is, during the breakup, were there feelings, like, was there, you know, did it get, you know? Whoa. Okay, that was awfully strange. I have no idea what the heck just happened.
It's tripping, man.
Were there ever?
We're on a new background now.
Really weird, dude. I'm gonna have to see, and that's why you gotta kind of edit it out there.
No, don't edit it.
Right? Look, we switched spots.
Whatever. I'm actually happy being on this side, although my camera's a little off there. Your little thing, or maybe it's on this side, depending on. I'll just go like this. That little bar. No, it's on my side anyway. Now it's on both of our sides.
Look, I can. Yeah, it's really weird. Anyway,
whatever. Anyways,
nope. Yeah, we're gonna.
I was just fucking with shit.
Yeah, now I'm just messing around.
Whatever. Now he's gonna be like going back tonight and be like, "What the fuck?" Were there high? Hold on
1 second. It's minute 31 here. I just gotta, you know, and I gotta do this because, you know, I have a sponsor that is, I mean, amazing. By the way, it's Cooper and Hunter, and they actually have they have like a video that they've sent me that I've played it a bunch of times. Actually, really, really cool video. And so yeah, it's just it's a very short.
Cooper and Hunter's new peak unit runs efficient.
To this. This whole thing is absolutely bonkers. It's not. There it is.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Okay, guys.
You know, I just want to say before you start the video, can I say something?
Yeah, say it.
This is like the best cliffhanger ever. To make sure they watch the ad.
Cooper and Hunter's new peak unit runs efficiently up to 19 SEER 2 with BTU capacity that ranges between 18 to 55,000 for indoor and outdoor units. Compared to a traditional gas furnace, Peak's revolutionary design is ready to step in without a hassle thanks to its adaptive multi-voltage. True high-performance hyper units provide a 100% heating output at -13 degrees. Looking inside the unit, the new M-coil is highly efficient and provides a better airflow that reflects in a higher static pressure. Our smart kit is included, giving you access to control your device from the comfort of your phone. Peak stands for powerful, efficient, auto voltage detection, and quiet. To learn more, visit our website or talk to your local distributor. Cooper and Hunter, addicted to comfort.
Yeah, just want to say thank you to Cooper and Hunter. They've been an incredible sponsor. They're also a sponsor of the New York Yankees, the Florida Panthers. They have incredible products. Check them out, cooperhunter.us. VRV, VRF systems, ductless mini splits. Very, very grateful for them, Arturo and their team, and they're taking over. They're in 3 major markets. They're across the country, but majorly they're really taking over here in Texas. So very, 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 very cool. So yes, Thaddeus, cliffhanger.
Yes.
What happened from an emotional standpoint?
Oh man. First off, go Canes, not Panthers. They beat my Edmonton Oilers. No bad. No, Timothy, you're good, Tim, man. Like we'll dive in, man. I'm an open book. You guys know that. You've watched the show. You've been a follower. So raw, real, and authentic. Man, I had some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows during the whole process. I'd probably say that over the 2.5 months that happened, the lead up, the post follow, like the post, like I just said, it was in a pit of despair for like 4 to 6 weeks. Didn't even want to come to work. I'm like, I was questioning, like, did I make the right decision? Like that literally went through my mind. I'm like, did I make the right decision? Am I making the right move? And I waffled on that quite a bit, quite a bit actually. And I thought, I'm like, really? I mean, like, we built it. But then at the end of the day, no, I had to make the choice for the people and for me, really, to move on from that. And there were a lot of sleepless nights, where I would, I still didn't have any issues falling asleep. It was that 2 a.m. wake up, right? Where I'd wake up and I'd be like, boop, and I start thinking about it. I'm like, well, fuck, there goes the rest of my night. I wouldn't fall back asleep because I think I just get up and I do shit, right? There were a lot of peaceful moments in it too, knowing that it was over with, it was done. I shouldn't say over with. It was done. In anywhere in between. And I think anybody that has went through a divorce or a business partnership, separation, business divorce, knows exactly the emotions that I'm talking about here. Is that it is something that is, I can't give you any words of advice or solace on what is actually going to happen for you and your story if that happens to you. Because everybody's story is written different. Just know that you're going to have the highest of highs where you're like, yeah, this is the right thing. And the lowest of lows where you're crying. Because I cried. I did.
Wow. Yeah. What was the hardest part though?
The initial conversation. I had an hour and a half drive there. I generally listen to audiobooks when I drive. Try to anyways. Listen to music. I can do anything. I just literally sat in silence for an hour and a half and drove up there.
Just framing what you were going to say.
Yeah.
How you're going to say it.
Yeah.
And you had to do it in person.
Yeah.
That's a man's man thing to do though, by the way.
Yeah. Actually, I had a coach and a consultant, a mentor at the time. That we were talking about doing it digitally. Like, we're only 3 hours apart. We met in the middle. He's like, trust me, Thad, you might not see it right now, but take that time to go meet in person. He's like, you might not want to. You might have to delay it to meet in person. But if you do it in person, if you did it on video, you're going to regret every moment of it.
You're going to regret it the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I think there are
certain regret it. He's like, cause he's been there. He did it. He did it remotely. And they were a 4-hour drive or 2-hour drive or some shit like that. And he's like, I did it virtually. I did it over the phone. He's like, worst decision of my life. He's like, you did it a second time. And he's like, yeah, I met him in person. Best move I could have made.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. I think there's certain things where there's a palpable, like a static electricity in the air where you can sort of like, you can feel off emotion. This is why, like, I truly believe, like, when people are in the same room, like, people say, like, I got a feeling. Like, I think that that's real. I think that I think there's certain, I think most people have a sense that that doesn't come from having this conversation, when it's like there is something powerful, which is thank God, by the way, thank God that there is something left in this world that is truly human, right? Because you can AI the shit out of everything, but you are not going to AI the shit out of a face-to-face conversation, which, I don't know about you, man. That shit scares the crap out of me. I think about all the things now where I could call a call center and I am on the phone and I think I'm talking to a human. And I'm actually not. I'm actually talking to a bot that is like better at communicating than like half the people that I know. Right to this. I like this. I
like the moving around. I was like, why do you keep bouncing around? But I get it now. I get it.
It keeps things exciting.
It keeps the listeners engaged.
So what's next? Okay, so we've talked about the breakup. We know that it was terrible and horrible, but now you've kind of weathered and gone through the storm. You don't own the podcast anymore. You are hold on, I got a question here. So John Gonzalez says, so Everett, why did you make a change? Are you talking about the screen, John Gonzalez?
I think so.
Why did I make the change? I don't know, man. I like variety, dude. I like things that,
I like it. It keeps people captivated. Like, oh, what's he going to press next?
Yeah, I most definitely, yeah, I most. By the way, this chat is really busy. They're talking about baseball, football. I mean, it's like crazy. Like anything but the pain that you were talking about going through. Like that's what they're. Yeah.
Honestly, guys, if anybody that is listening and you're chatting, you're like, yeah, guys, if you have pain, man, like if you're going through that, dude, reach out to somebody. It doesn't have to be me. Just reach out to somebody, have a conversation. You're not man enough to do it alone.
Dude, I so forget. I forget sometimes, right? Like, cause life's gone a long way, right? Like you've probably come a really far way. A lot of us where we are in our career, whatever, we've come a long way. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of stuff going on, but we, you forget sometimes. I forget who I was talking to. It was like one of the episodes. And they were saying like sometimes you just have to stop and go, where did I come from? And where am I now? And you got to look back at that journey and say, well, hot damn. Like, I don't take enough time to just go, where did you come from? And where are you now? And that reflection needs to happen. Otherwise, you won't be grateful. You won't be grateful about the things. John Gonzalez goes career. I don't know what you're talking about. Why did I make a change at career? I don't know what you're talking about. I've been in the home services business for the last 16 years. I've made job changes. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. Timothy Stanley says, I can see this being painful after 5 years of daily relationship and then done out of the blue could definitely hit in a different way. Just cherish the moments while they're present.
Yeah. And I would say it probably wasn't necessarily out of the blue. It was something that we both saw coming.
Yeah, but somebody had to pull the trigger.
Correct.
And
yes, correct.
And you did, and it took some time to get there.
Yep.
Hey, on an interesting note though, so what's next? Is it just head down like in on purpose media? Are you just gung ho like marketing? I mean, how many tons of clients, things going on? Like what's new? What's moving forward? And ordinarily, I'd probably ask you some fun stories from the past. And if you want to talk about that, that's fine. But I think the audience and myself are way more interested about like, what are you doing, man? Because you've been out of the loop, man. You've been gone. Like you've been out. I mean, I saw you at AHR. Thank God I ran into you and we're having this conversation because you've been gone. I mean, you've been out of the picture for a while.
Yeah. You're hanging on the peripheral, right? I've been focusing on me, focusing on the business, on purpose media. At the end of the day, the marketing company is my asset, right? It's where I'm going with my life, right? When you think about that, okay, well, what makes the biggest impact? Focusing on a podcast or focusing on my marketing company?
What's the biggest thing you're working on in your marketing company right now? Like what right now is like the biggest thing, the biggest obstacle that you're having with when you're bringing on clients from other companies in the home services world? Like, what are you combating right now? Like, what are the mistakes that are happening that you're helping to solve?
There's so many, man. There's so many. A lot of times it's just companies that think like, so one of the reasons why I started on-purpose media and we started on-purpose media at the time was because there was a lot of small businesses that, and this is 2019. So again, 6 years ago, that was a little bit different of a time. Now AI is kind of changing that game. The reality is that the SEO is still there. It's just changing drastically. And I think I have an idea on where it's going to go, but I'm not going to put my money out on my cards out on the table right now on where I think it's going to go. I'm going to continue to focus that internally to flesh some of that out because I don't want to mislead or mistray anybody. But the reality is that most businesses don't understand still what's happening in the digital landscape, right? You think about home services in the trades, right? Like you think about all of this, like most owners got into it when they were turning wrenches to start.
Yeah.
Like technology was an afterthought. And like now, okay, they're installing new systems that have AI and technology and shit baked into that. Completely different technology, by the way, than what it takes to run your business. from an AI perspective. I think part of the one of the biggest battles is this whole AI conundrum and what to do when they've been misguided on AI and they've been misguided in SEO for years. And that's just a result of there's so many different marketing companies that are doing God knows what. There's no systemized processes in place. You can hire best practice groups to be able to teach you how to do things, but it's just like any other best practice group. Who the fuck knows, right? In that. And so I think that's one battle in terms of fighting that and fighting it the right way to be able to get that message out there of, okay, what's the future? What's going to happen from that? In terms of like my actual business and what I'm fighting on the day-to-day inside the business, is a consistency in our sales pipeline. Right. As a marketing agency, there's always ebbs and flows, right? Especially when you're dealing with heating and cooling companies as the primary source of our clients. Well, guess what? Moving season is, we call that moving season. It's like it starts to pick up in like October, November, December, January. Boom, everybody's moving, right? If you're moving your marketing agencies, you don't generally see a lot of movement right now because you don't want to disrupt.
Yeah, you're right before this. You're right before the HVAC season, so
right?
You're not going to get
And there's different ways to be able to do that. Like we just brought on a client the other day, and he's like, "Well, I don't want to disrupt where I'm going." I'm like, "Great, your website sucks.
Right,
we need to
everything you're doing sucks."
Right? No, his SEO actually wasn't bad. His website sucked, and so we're like, "Hey, let's put some lipstick on the pig. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. Let's actually correct a couple of the conversion rate optimization things on your business, on your website, and we'll continue our SEO. And then in the fall, when it matters,
do the full move over. So you were able to get
we'll redesign
part of the business now. Part of the business now, part of the business later.
And we don't charge for website builds; like it's baked into our programs.
Oh, that's awesome. And when this episode drops to an audio, like I'll put your information in there, and I'll throw it in you can throw it in all the there's different posts and whatnot. Sure. But I'd be remiss to address something here. So somebody had asked me, and I've been working, guys. I mean, like bell to bell, okay, on the Kenerator. And so, yeah, somebody said like, why the move over? Well, I was just listening to the radio today and, the largest home services provider in the entire DFW market, which is 8 million people, which by the way, was bought by Apex, is currently advertising generators. They are a plumbing, electrical, and HVAC company. They're an HVAC company first. They did about $88 million last year, and they are advertising generators because generators are literally the hottest thing. ARS is working on a generator department. There are countless companies out there that are working on generators in general, and we're at the forefront here. Mm-hmm. And so, without sort of spilling the beans and without going into like all sorts of details about what's going on behind the scenes, what we've put together here. If you guys go to the website kenerator.com and you guys take a look at some of the stuff that we're dropping and the things that we're doing, it's next level. It's really, really cool. And what this morphs into, or what this, kind of moves into, and what the evolution of this looks like I have no idea.
I think that's a smart play, to be honest. I mean, you think about stability of like electrification and instability of grids.
Yeah. Well, Ken Goodrich is a pretty smart guy. So mm-hmm. I'm gonna just say it's not without its challenges, but it's been, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's really cool. I love helping to build businesses in general. So that was the whole Kenerator thing. So, but yeah, so before because we're gonna, I gotta ask this, and this, I think I already know the answer, but I ask a question on every episode, and I'd be curious, now that you've gone through this kind of challenging, situation, what is one experience that you've gone through that, and it maybe could be early on, something that lives with you and you carry it wherever you go. And I want to let you know, I got a call today. Before I'm going to let you stew on that for a second. I got a call today randomly from a guy in Chicago who owns like a in-home sales company. He does like whatever. He's done it all. He's done all sorts of in-home sales stuff. And randomly, because somebody in Chicago was listening to the podcast and said, you got to get in touch with this guy, Everett, because he loves all these stories. And this guy wants to just come on and tell stories. So I just thought it was really cool. And I had asked him this question, we were talking about some things, And he had just started going into stories. Like, I want to submit these stories somewhere. I'm like, well, we do story time sometimes. We have an episode. Actually, Dan Baker was on it. We did story time. But the what was so cool was the reaction from this. And I keep saying it, and I say it on every single episode, but I can't wait to just, maybe I'll have an editing company do it for me, because it's going to be so, like, there's 50 episodes. So it's going to be 50 clips and just one long episode with just like, what was the one experience that you, that lives with you. Right.
Yeah, I already know. I remember as soon as you said that, I'm like, okay, I already know the story. And one of the things, one of my previous positions, and I've done a lot of things. Like I've delivered papers for 5 years. I worked at a gas station. That was a fun thing. That was in high school, like pumping gas. Did pre-engineered steel building erection. So like basically built Costco's.
Steel engineering, what?
Pre-engineered steel building erection.
Oh, I see.
Yes. I had to throw that in there.
What am I, 5?
No, of course. Yeah. I mean, well, I am, at least sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
All
We're all
males
just
the word erection.
five-year-olds.
What do you say? I sold Cutco knives. I sold cars. I did business insurance. I did property management. I did passenger elevators. I always have to say passenger elevators because I'm from Alberta. And when I chat with people from Saskatchewan, which keep in mind, this is like Montana, Idaho territory, right? Kind of similar. So when I say elevators, they're like, oh, like grain elevators, right? No, passenger elevators. Ones that you go, A. Ooh, don't do it about it. So when I was in the elevator industry, I always took pride in trying to get back to people as soon as I possibly could, because I was on their other side. I was on the property manager side and dealing with the elevator companies, and it was like pulling teeth, man. It was like pulling teeth trying to get an answer. And so I would get back to people. I would give them my cell phone number. I didn't care. Like, call me. I would get back to you. And I would try to get back to people. Even if I didn't have an answer, just give them a call back an hour or two later and say, hey, by the way, I got your email. I've got to call into the supervisor. As soon as I get the information, I'll get back to you. And then I would hound that supervisor to get the answer so I could get them as soon as I possibly could. Well, this other guy in the business, we called him Bubba. He's Big Bubba. And he comes over to me. He's like, Thad, gotta tell you something. I'm like 3 months into the job, by the way. He's like, dude, gotta tell you something. He's like, you gotta slow down. I'm like, what do you mean slow down, Bubba? He's like, well, you just gotta slow down. I'm like, well, what do you mean slow down? He's like, well, you're responding back to people too quickly. He's like, you're ruining it for the rest of us. Literally his words. He's like, you're responding back to people too quickly. You're ruining it for the rest of us. Like, what? He's like, well, we have a good thing going on. They would send an email. I would read it. I would wait on it for like a day or two. And I'd follow up with the supervisor. By then, they might have had a chance to look at it. And I would respond back to them in 4 to 5 days with the response. And I looked at him. I'm like, you're fucking stupid. And I walked away. Like literally, I'm like, that you're fucking stupid. And I walked away. Like, why would I lower my standards to somebody else? So we always continued to do that. Well, I left the elevator industry. I went into the marketing space and doing print magazines. And I was probably a year removed. And I reffed hockey. I played hockey. I was actually going in hockey. By the way, Brian, Stars definitely not in 5. I think the Oilers are going to have an uphill battle in beating the Stars in this series. If they do, it's going to be like a 6 or 7 game slog, man. It's not going to be like last year.
Did you have a conversation with Brian Bohannon about?
No. Brian put in their Stars in 5 because I said the Oilers fan when you're talking about Florida. Cooper.
Oh, you know what's funny it's funny that I didn't even see this. It's been a busy chat, so I haven't.
It has been a busy chat. Yeah. I saw it pop up. I'm like, I got to make that on there. But anyway, so I was in the hockey arena a year later. And I hear, I don't know where, Thaddeus. And I'm like, who the fuck is yelling my name? And I turn around, and it was one of the people that I dealt with in this building. They had elevators, and she was the property manager, and I dealt with him, or her rather. And she's like, can you come back? I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, the elevator industry. Can you come back? Well, why? She's like, well, you would actually respond back to me. Even if you didn't have an update, even if it was no news, you would still respond back to me. The other guy, I don't hear from him for like a week. Can you just come back? I'm like, No, I'm sorry. But that sucks. Really. And so at the end of the day, actually the boss of that place had told me something, is that at the end of the day, you only have two things in your life. And people might debate one of them. You have your last name and your reputation. So you better protect both. See, people remember who you are and how you made them feel. So there's your last name, there's your reputation. If you make them feel good, now you're going to win. That's actually carried forward. In fact, our first core value at On Purpose Media is do what's right, not what's easy. Built off this premise, I mean, honesty, transparency is just the throwaway core value. Don't ever have that in your core values. If honesty and transparency and integrity are your core values suck. You need to redo them. Straight up. Dude, you want to get me fired up? Put honesty, integrity in your core values and transparency.
Yeah, your core values should, honesty, integrity.
Right? Do what's right. Right, do what's right, not what's easy. That encompasses honesty, integrity, transparency, and the last sentence in our blurb of that is you only have your last name and your reputation. You better protect both.
That that was the motto. That's the motto for Gettle. Do things the right way, not the easy way.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great minds. I got the opportunity to create core values about 2-3 years ago now with Supply Smart, where you interviewed me. And I remember going through that and bringing in the staff to come up with what they thought good core values would be. And I managed the team of 17, and we collectively, I took everybody's insight. We compiled it all together, and then we took everything, and then we would say, well, this really belongs in this bucket, and this really belongs in this bucket, and this really belongs in that bucket. And then what we ended up coming up with were 5 core values that were awesome, that encompassed virtually everything that we spoke about. And it was, to this date, probably the greatest, and I've had all sorts of sales accolades and awards given to me, and this by far was the single coolest thing that I had ever done, was help collectively create these 5, I think it was 4 or 5 core values. I have to go back to it. And my favorite one, Thaddeus, and I think this goes to anybody who's listening and anybody who's watching, I think this is paramount, because I think in general, and human beings just don't do this well enough, was communicate effectively. Now, it didn't say communicate like, it didn't say, it said communicate effectively. But people get communicated in different ways.
Correct.
Somebody might say, you know what, their best form of communication might be you texting them. Literally. Some people want to have I want to have a conversation. Call me. Talk to me. Some people don't really want to have the conversation. They won't communicate as well. They need to put their thoughts together, and they need to write them down. So communicate effectively doesn't necessarily mean be salesy, right? It doesn't mean manipulate. It just means effectively.
I would agree to that.
Christian Dunwoody says, I'm watching. Christian, I'm glad you're watching. Your episode has done very well, actually. People like listening to you for whatever reason. I think you're kind of boring, to be honest with you, but that's just Oh, I'm just kidding, Christian. I love you, dude. So, Thaddeus, now that everything is sort of, wound down, you kind of got it out. What's your thoughts on podcasting now? Is it just, you think it's just too much? You think it's just too, people love to hear what you have to say. I don't know. There's very few people that can actually do a podcast and actually have any sort of semblance of an audience, or have anybody care what they say or anything else. Right. I've been really freaking, amazed and blessed. I've got, you've seen the stats. It's crazy. Tens of thousands of freaking people. It's nuts. But I don't think that is the path for everybody, but you did it. And do you think to yourself, like, is there a future in this podcasting world, this space for you again? Or you think that it's over, that's it. And it'll just, you'll focus on the marketing and that'll be that.
I think there is space for it again. There is a very good opportunity for it. I think podcasting, while people think that it is saturated, I mean, it is, don't get me wrong, but I'm a marketing company in a very saturated space. Like, I heard a stat the other day that 3% of Americans have a business with more than one employee. And of those 3% that have more than one employee, only like 7 or 9% of them go above $1 million in revenue. I'm in that category with my business. But you think about that, how saturated it is.
Did you say 9%?
Yeah, the numbers, I mean, these are just stats that I've heard. Like, I've heard that
No, but
7
you're
to
saying
9%
that of
of
the
all
people that
businesses
have,
will go over $1 million in revenue.
it's only 9% that will go over $1 million in revenue, right? Of course, because
Correct.
everybody's
Of businesses. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, fine. So yesterday, and
Yep.
Christian will be a testament to this if he's still watching, but DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, okay, has something. Okay, how many real estate agents do you think there are in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex?
8 million people.
There's
8 million people.
There's
9 million real estate agents.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like, it's like 40,000. It's an insane number.
Mm-hmm.
But how many of those actually sell houses and are active? It's like 15,000 that are like.
Oh, it's so small. Yeah, so 80% of real estate agents do like 1 to 2 deals a year. They call themselves a real estate agent. They're not. Another 18% make like 80,000 a year, and the other 1 to 2% command all the market.
I've thought about this, man, and sometimes I go, I don't want to say there's not sleepless nights. It's not like I go to bed and I think about this, but man, does it get me fired up when people start talking about podcasts. And now that I have people email me, like, it's literally every single day. They're like, I got a guest. I want to come on. I want to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you want to come on so you can market your business. That's what you want. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I get it, but you've got to have substance to it. Totally fine. Right. But what really, you talk about saturated, everybody wants to have a podcast. You're right. But the difference was, and it was Tim Hook that said this, and I will never forget this, because Tim Hook said something, the most brilliant thing I'd ever heard from some like marketing guy, right? He was like, I have tons of likes. I can manipulate the algorithm. I get lots. He knows how to do it. He puts stuff on YouTube. He knows how to get all the likes, all the attraction. Oh, like, and it's really splashy. He's like, you have a community. And that is much harder to build. It is much harder to build a community than it is to build likes. And I don't want to build likes. I don't want to. I from the inception of this thing, I just wanted real people, real in-home sales reps, real people doing real human shit. And so, we had a half episode on AI, and it was like, because it's happening in the industry, but other than that, that was kind of it. But I'm glad to hear that you might be considering, the podcasting world again, and we'll see, what happens in the world, with that.
Yep. Look, I think that the ability to be able to extract information is done differently by different people. If you or I, if I were to interview somebody and you were to interview somebody, and we're going to do it completely separate, the conversation would be completely different. Why? Yeah. Because you think differently than I think, and I think
mine would be really entertaining.
Right? Yeah, you actually, your podcast is phenomenal. You lead questions quite well, and I've actually quite enjoyed being a guest on the podcast because you lead it. You don't let the guest do all the talking all the time, and you interrupt when you need to interrupt. It's done really well, by the way. And so that part of things, I think, goes really. It flows with the audience quite well. There's other people that are boring and dry and mundane. Like, what have you been doing this for a year and a half?
I mean,
2 years?
I've been doing this forever. Having
podcasting. How long?
Actually podcasting on like a live stream, a year and a half. But having conversations with people in a symbiotic fashion forever.
Right. But year and a half podcasting. How many episodes do you have out?
50. This is your number 50.
See,
you are actually episode 50.
50, by the way.
50. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't really like the 50, but hey, you know what? I'll take 50 in this case.
I love it. Hold on, Billy Klein. By the way, and I love Billy Klein. I love this guy.
Yes.
I love this guy. He goes, "What if I sell over the phone instead of in the home? Can I still be in your community?" Well, Billy Klein, I happen to know personally that you have, and for many years, sold in the home. So it doesn't matter. But yes, if you sell over the phone, I don't care. I don't care if you sell anything, actually. So I was in this house has really become ethereal and sort of metaphoric in a way. And I mean, we're in the house here. Here we are, me and Thaddeus. Thaddeus is drinking, rye or bourbon. Who knows? Whiskey.
I'm
I don't
actually
know.
drinking Maker's.
Maker's Mark, and we don't even know what I'm drinking. So here we are. We're having two dudes having a conversation. And Billy, you know what? You come on, and I'll have you come on, and it'll be a lot of fun. And I invite people, whoever's listening to this, I have so many people that I have not had good conversations with that should be on. And if you don't want to be alone as a guest, I have guests that don't want to be a single guest. They want to be on with other people. They want to have like 2 or 3 or 4 people on. I'm totally fine with that. I have no problems with that at all. A panel's great. I will be dropping the audio from prison to the trades, and it was really great. And you know what, Thaddeus, I'll tell you what. Since you have so much experience being being in the podcast world, I would have you on and be a panel guest, and you can kind of co-host with me, which I've had a couple co-hosts in the past. If you'd be down for that, I think it'd be kind of interesting. I feel like you're kind of the dry to my, little wackiness here. So I'm a little wacky sometimes, but yes, Billy Klein says safety in numbers. Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm stoked about it, man. Dude, I've had so much fun on this podcast. I could literally talk to you for a long time. Before we wrap this up, I want to have you. I know you got On Purpose Media. I want to post a little
onpurposemedia.ca.
I want to do this for you because I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it at the bottom here so that
did I jump the gun on that? Is that why?
No. You knew. Oh, see, okay. Before we started talking, because I've had conversations. I spent a lot of time with Thaddeus actually in Florida a couple months ago. Okay, and part of what this conversation kind of came about was like, Thaddeus, dude, should come on the show. And because nobody had seen him, nobody knew what was going on with Thaddeus, and we spent like 2-3 nights just hanging out and talking and really, and
I saw Everett's road rage at full. Like his is what jersey?
My jersey came out on purposemedia.ca, right?
Came full out. Yeah, on purposemedia.ca. Your jersey came full out, man. You're yelling at the person and the light was green and they're still they were parked. They weren't even driving. The light was green. And then they're driving, they already turned. He's like, it was green.
Yeah. My kids actually get the brunt of that too. So unfortunately, but yeah, so I invite people to come on. Thaddeus, I would love for you to, co-host. I think it would be great. And you would offer a little bit of, that some things that I don't quite, capture maybe, but I think that'd be really cool. Billy, I think you should come on as well. And I invite anybody else that's watching, even if I've done an episode with you, because there's so much to talk about. And guys, listen, the industry that we work in right now, and this is, guys, I have been knocking doors, pounding pavements, talking to people, making connections in networking meetings continuously. I'm telling you right now, this whole industry is changed. The whole landscape is changed. The way that we get business is changed. We simply, and I don't know if you agree or disagree with me, but like, this is all I'm seeing in the last however long is like, whatever was built over the course of the last like 15, 20 years is great foundation there. But I think there's major shifts in how it goes. I think PE plays a large role in it. I think that there's just a lot plays a lot of role. It's too much of a conversation, but before we wrap up, man, let me, why don't you go ahead and give everybody kind of, where they can find you. I know onpurposemedia.ca, but where they can find you, how they can find you, what they can, where they can go to find maybe some stuff that you've worked on, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. YouTube.com/@Thaddeus Tondu. That's 2 D's, EUS Tondu. That onpurposemedia.ca you see across the ticker. You can find me on Facebook. I think it's actually just facebook.com/Thaddeus Tondu. Let me actually Thaddeus.Tondu, my bad. Those are the 2 bit. I put out more YouTube content lately. I just recorded I don't even know how many videos today. Too many. Obviously the Facebook, I haven't been as active as I normally have been, as you alluded to. on that, obviously on purposemedia.ca. I will say that if anybody wants to have a text conversation, you can text me at 719-824-1377. That's 719-824-1377. If you want to have any conversation about marketing, I guess, and that if you want to have the personal, probably hit me on Messenger. That 1377 is
do me a favor.
shared
Say your
marketing
number.
number,
Say your
by the way.
number one more time. Say
Yeah,
your
yeah.
number one time.
719
Yep.
824
Yep.
1377.
Okay. You
Yep.
know, you're pretty brave to throw it up here, but I guess it makes sense. And
It's
send them a
not my,
text.
I will say that it is not my direct personal cell phone number. It is a shared marketing number. So if you have marketing questions, send that there. If you have personal questions, hit me up on Facebook.
Last but not least, what was the final question that you guys always ask people on HVAC Success Secrets Revealed? There was one question, and I remember, and I'm trying to think back because you guys actually asked it, and I couldn't think of it. But there was a question that you asked on every single episode. What was it?
You better not flip this around to me.
What was it?
You fucker. You're gonna flip it around on me, aren't you?
What was it?
What is one question that you wished people would ask you more but don't?
That's it. What was one question that you wish people asked more, but they don't?
Are you flipping that around to me?
Dude, I'm fucking asking you right now. Straight up, I'm asking you.
I think that answer is depending on the season of life and where somebody is at in their business, or their life, really, for that matter. Yes, I am beating around the bush to try to give my mind time to catch up to the answer of what I would actually say.
Can I ask you another question before we go there? And this is something I'm curious about. So have you had, since this whole thing has kind of died down a little bit, and I know I'm bringing it back before, but I'm really curious now because, again, you guys were on the air for 4 years or whatever.
Yep.
Have you guys talked? Have you guys had? Okay.
Yeah. Not in the last couple of weeks, but we've had phone conversations, text conversations, message
That's
conversations.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to, I didn't know. I was curious.
Yep. Yeah. What is one question I wish people would ask me more, but don't? Oh man, there's so many different ways that I can go with it. Really, I wish people would just ask for help, man. Like, it doesn't necessarily, like, anything. It doesn't have to be me. Like, don't ask me this question. Ask you this question, or ask other people this question for you. Don't be siloed in this little thing of, hey, what was me? Reach out, ask people for help, right? Like, just ask the question, man. Like, it doesn't have to be about me. It doesn't have to. It could be to Everett, right? Hey, I am struggling with. That's it. I know it's kind of a cop-out answer, but
are you struggling with anything right now?
I mean, I think everybody struggles with something.
No. Are you personally struggling?
Yeah,
with anything right now?
Sleep.
Yeah, because the baby.
Probably my biggest one. No, the kids are 2 and 4. Like, they're generally pretty good. Like, I have no issues falling asleep. It's that staying asleep thing for me. Like that 2:30, 3 a.m.
Are you serious? You're getting up in the middle of the night?
What?
You're getting up in the middle of the night? That's crazy.
I wake up in the middle of the night. My kids sleep through the night for the most part. The 4-year-old comes into the room and he's like this, that, and he's like, it's scary in my room. Can you open the blinds? Can you fold my blankets out? But and Travis right now, he's going
Travis
through this, right? He's a 2-month-old. Like, good luck for your sleep, bud. But you're young enough, you can handle it. My biggest thing, the biggest struggle that I have is with like the whole sleep thing. I would also say, and I actually had this conversation with Justin Judd with Chirp, phenomenal person, by the way. Love Chirp, love Justin. Is the physical health aspect of my life. That's one of the things that I know that I need to get better at, and that I know that I need to dive into, that I know that I need to actually start working out. And so I've taken the moves. I've reached out to Sean Michael Crane. We're actually going to start having conversations with her on Unstoppable.
What's that, bro? You need to start.
65. Yeah. He's lifting the iron. I mean, like, I got mine down here.
I did 9 miles.
But I can't make keg. Kegs are more fun on parties anyways.
I did 8.5 miles. I did 9 miles.
But that's it. Like, it's this equilibrium of this point in my life of like, okay, I've got a business with 15 team members. I've got 2 kids that are 2 and 4. I've got a wife. I've got a dog. I've got a wife, spending time with my wife. Her love language is quality time. My love language is acts of service. By the way, 5 love languages. If you haven't listened to it or read the
Yeah,
book,
that's your love language is acts of service.
yeah,
You're the only dude I've ever met that has that.
right.
You're
Dudes are
the
predominantly acts of service.
You are the only male I have ever met that has said, at least said, that their love language is acts of service. That's crazy to me.
Why? What's yours?
What do you think it is?
I have no clue, man. Oh, physical touch, probably.
So yes, it's like almost even.
Remember that word that I said earlier? It started with E and ended with rection.
It's words of affirmation and physical touch. Literally, they're like right neck and neck.
Oh, interesting.
I just want to be hugged and told like everything's okay. Everything's
okay. Yeah. See, like mine is acts of service, but my second is words of affirmation, but it's not in the sense of like you're doing a good job and all these things. It's if I do an act of service for my wife, because generally how you show up in a relationship is doing that love language. So my wife was always trying to get quality time with me, and I'm like, like whatever, like this just we'll do whatever, right? And so now I know that if she says, hey, do you want to go for a family walk? Hey, do you want to go walk the dog together? It's like, yep. Because that's her love language. That's her showing up. And if I turn it away because it's not important to me, right? It's the same thing with acts of service.
Yeah, but you got to go on walks.
I do. Oh yeah, we go on lots of walks, lots of family events. I mean, our kids are 2 and 4, man. Like I would believe me, the shit that the list of stuff that is in my house, the stuff that I know that I need to do that I just don't do, is growing because my kids are 2 and 4. Golden age, man. Don't ever miss that. If anybody's a parent and they get like Travis, you're listening to this, man, do not sleep on 0 to 5.
Dude, let me tell you something. As somebody who's got 5 kids, it's the best time. Don't. Let me tell you something.
Do not sleep on it.
I spoke to my daughter, and I'm going to leave everybody with this. I spoke to my daughter, who's 12 going on 20. I spoke to her yesterday. I went in her room and she was like, oh, Dad, like, what's that? It's a mess over there. Oh, leave it alone, whatever. And I said, remember when I was, we're younger and I used to read Dr. Seuss books to my kids. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite. I love reading Dr. Seuss books to the kids. It's like I do all the, and so I take like one fish, two fish. I do different voices. I'm really, really skilled. I have a hidden trick of lots of voices. Okay. When I was younger and I was in like Broadway stuff, I used to do voiceover work and I have all these dialects and all this kind of stuff. This is a lot of fun.
Give me one.
So I'll go, okay. So in one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, I'll go from a British accent and then I'll go, I forget what it is, but it's like,
no, talking a British accent then.
Oh, I'll be like, this one has a little car. This one has a little star. My, what fun they are. And then like, there's one that goes, oh dear, I cannot hear. Oh, can you please come over near? Can you look within my ear? There must be something there, I fear. And like, it's the guy that has, and the guy goes, oh, look, a bird was in your ear. And I do this like New York guy, like, and then I'll go on and I'll do like, I'll do like a which way did he go, George? And like, I'll do, there's like a couple of guys like, yes, what are you doing here? Like, I just do all these different voices. And it was my favorite part of like parenting. Yeah. And I love to just go and like make up voices. And I got to a point where I memorized all the different voices that I did on all the different pages. And so I read all these books and I was just sitting there. She's 12 going on 20 and she's going to be 13 in a few months and whatever. And so, but she remembers it. And it was funny because I thought she was going to be like, Dad, go away. It's my room, whatever. And she was like, no, like, she was like, yeah, I remember that. And she would like kind of reminisce and like thought she was like, yeah, and you used to do all the voices and you remember that stuff and your kids remember that stuff and they love it and they cherish it and they'll remember you for that. And, they may not remember how hard you worked growing up. They might. They're going to reflect on that. Of course, you're going to build work ethic in them and you're going to instill discipline in them and you're going to do all these things. But those little memories, those are impossible to rebuild.
I don't think they start to remember that till they're older, to be honest. Like I think about my childhood and like I didn't find out 2 years ago is when my dad told me that he actually quit a job. I was like, I don't know, 6 months old, to be able to come home, to be able to do bath time with us every night. Did it. He was literally done it.
And that's why you're such a good dad, by the way.
Right.
I know that.
Thank
And I
you.
knew that
So
tonight.
I'm trying my best.
I knew
and
doing
sometimes
this
you don't have to do it.
podcast at night was tough for you too, because I knew that you were like, it had to be late because the kid, the kids go down and
Yep.
so but I respect that. I do. I have the utmost respect for dads out there.
Because again, you miss it, right? Like, because again, that 0 to 5, they don't remember it, but man, you sure do. Because they think about this, like 0 to 5, like you're their everything, man. Like you're their everything. They don't know anything else. By the time they turn 5, they start making friends. By the time they're 10, 11, 12, they've got friends that are like, peace out, mom and dad, I'm good. Like 75% of the time that you spend with your kids is before they're 18. Something like that, like 80%.
Yeah.
Like that's
No.
wild when you think about that. In the bulk of that is in their formative years. Like I don't remember much of like pre 5 years old with my parents. I remember my dad always being there for sports and being there. Like I remember him working like in my later years when I was older and in that stage of like, what up, mom and dad? I don't need you guys. Like he would work hard. But in those early years, I guarantee he was there.
Speaking of daddies, we got Jason Walker in the audience here.
He's been quiet too. I haven't seen him in a long time. Been building his business. Go up, Jason.
He has been, Jason. And we've had a great conversation, man. And if you get the chance, and I know you're super, super busy, but if you're in your car, and this is on the live stream, on the live section on the So I Was in This House podcast on YouTube. And so you can go there. So by the way, for anybody that doesn't know this, Facebook has changed their policies. So all 75,000 of my views on Facebook are gone. And they've deleted everything that's older than 30 days. So anything older than 30 days is only on YouTube, which is
why don't you repost it?
So yes, could I repost it? I could repost them. It's so disheartening to know that I quite literally have 50, 60, 80,000 views that are just gone. But I mean, the traffic's still there. I mean, people are still visiting. They go to the site. Like it is what it is. But I miss you too, man, Jason. We got to get together at some point in time. Yep.
He's a super great human, man. Love Jason.
Jason is a fantastic human. And Jason, I did see your post the other day, by the way, on the anniversary of that the tragedy that happened.
That actually made me tear up.
It did. And I prayed for you, Jason. I know it's been a while since we talked. I know you were in here on a chat last year. There was a post, and anyway, there was a very busy live chat episode last year. Y'all can catch it if you want to. I think it was the one with Ian Shotanis. But yeah, man. So awesome conversation. I love the fact that you are you're so focused on being a dad, and you're just it makes me really happy. It makes me really happy. And it's kind of divine in a way that Jason came on because, with Jason being a dad and actually building a business out there in California and Jason actually is the OG, by the way, for anybody that's listening. Jason Walker, Masters of the Hustle, HVAC Masters of the Hustle, quite literally, I don't know how many years it is now, probably like 7, 8, 9 years, however long he's been doing it, but he's literally the OG in the home services space for HVAC. Quite literally. Like, I mean, he was like the guy that like kind of springboarded a lot of the other podcasts. I know he helped springboard mine. I never really asked him for too much advice, but it wasn't like, I didn't want to. It's just, I just didn't. I may have sent him a text here and there, but Thaddeus, I don't know if he was part of HVAC Success Secrets Revealed or not. But
he came on a few times. I think Tersh was a good backbone in terms of having those conversations. And like we've had great conversations with Jason, and like even I remember the episodes of Jason. It was, I think, the most enlightening thing is that the Jason that you see isn't the Jason that you know. And just having
it's true. He has. It's like Jason persona, Jason the persona, and Jason the person.
The persona of Jason has put it on because of the introvertedness, right? Like he talked about that openly on our podcast and just like opening that up and be like, dude, thank you for sharing that, by the way, Jason, if you're still listening. Like you sharing that on our podcast completely like flip 180 my opinion of you. And I don't think I ever told you that, but thank you for being open, raw, real, honest, and vulnerable, because that's really what it's all about.
Dude, I want to say something that I'm grateful for. And then this is probably one of the longest, except for maybe Tommy Mello and maybe one other person, this is the longest I've gone. So
sorry, not sorry.
I want to thank you. No, it's okay. I want to thank you for, and it's quite, I mean, it's been busy, so it's been good. Sometimes I think that the live stream takes away from the conversation. You know what I mean? That you're having an open dialogue. And sometimes I think it adds to it. And I think in this particular instance, I think it's added to it. So it's been nice. But I want to thank you because I'm grateful that you you made a choice, by the way, because I know that other people have talked to you. You chose to come, and talk to me. And obviously having come into an existence only a few months after, a few months before you guys broke up as a team, you and Evan, it means a lot. And I thank you because I think a lot of people wanted to hear from you, and anybody that's listening now or that joined in live later, like go back and listen because Thaddeus kind of goes through a little bit about the motions, about what kind of happened and so forth. But pretty brave, really appreciate it. At least from an industry perspective, just you have a lot of people that care about you and, wanted to, I mean, here you are up from the crypt and out and you're going to be a co-host on some upcoming episode, which will be really cool. And we'll figure that out. But, and Jason Walker, I think it's time for episode number 2, by the way. Your first episode was fantastic. I think it's number 2 or number 3 on my all-time list out of the 50 episodes. And Thaddeus is number 50. So I think we'll see what happens here. But Jason, I think he's number like 1 or 2 or 3, something like that. Jason said he just found out that you're not doing it together. Wow. Yeah. Well, Jason, you've been busy.
I mean, but he's been focusing, man. Like what you guys are building there is
Yeah.
phenomenal, and watching some of that journey, man. You guys are up to phenomenal things, and keep crushing.
Kenny Burns said he missed the podcast. We really worked well together and made it entertaining. Yeah, for sure. Well, Kenny, and Kenny, I'd love to have you on, man. I think we're
Great guy, great human.
Kenny. Oh no, I think Kenny's booked to come on. I think he booked one this week, to come on later in either June or July. So it's going to be really busy. It's going to be a really cool summer. Again, I'm doing, once a week. I might do a couple of episodes, and I'm actually thinking of a series that I'm going to do. That'll be kind of cool, similar to the Prison to the Trades podcast, but maybe a little bit different. But anyway, Kenny Burns said June 17th. Yeah, so everybody put it in your calendar, June 17th. Kenny Burns going to come on. Kenny's an awesome guy. Jason said it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Very, very cool. But I am grateful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And we will see you. I will see you next week. Actually, on the upcoming, Ismael Valdez is supposed to rebook. He has not rebooked as of now. We've not found a date yet, but that should be coming up on June 3rd. I'm off next week. June 3rd, I have Erin Mahoney, who is the roofer. She's fantastic. She's a roofer, and I've never had a roofer on yet. And she's an incredible person. You should look her up. I have a gentleman by the name of Peter Roth coming on June 10th, and then June 17th, Kenny Byrne came on. So very good. And Pete's actually a solar guy. So I have a roofing, solar, and then so we're going to open it up to, this is not just HVAC, guys. Okay, so I was in this house. So it could be, we got a slew of home services here, but cool.
Well, some other day we'll talk about I was in this house aspects of selling Cutco knives, but we're at the hour and a half mark. We'll save that for another time.
Oh man, I appreciate you, man. All right, cool, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.